really helped me make decisions about what kind of coach I wanted to be. When I made the decision to be a coach, I was really fortunate. 1992, Bobby May asked me if I would take on this job to be the head basketball coach at Rice, and he said something that I thought was really profound, at least it was for me. If a Rice degree matters, if all things are equal, then we should hire one of our own.
All right.
And I'm forever grateful to him for giving me that opportunity. And so when I became the head basketball coach here, one of the things that I said to myself and had to constantly remind myself of was that I was going to try to give my players and my coaches and the people that I was surrounded with things that my coaches, the ones that I played for, never gave me. The truth, developing a work ethic, developing an understanding that you are special and you are unique if you're at Rice University. Your responsibilities and your obligations really go far beyond just showing up to the gym every day. The way you conduct yourself, the way you carry yourself in the classroom.
Yes, sir.
Like Staley, I had some experiences here at Rice and I said it before, I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemies. Scheduling meetings with professors in their office hours and they not show up. Raising your hand in the classroom and never being called on. Getting a lower grade in a class where you really knew the material, but you just weren't going to be rewarded. And there was a point where I wanted to leave Rice too. And I remember my freshman year calling home and I told my folks, boy, you don't understand. And they said, well, you can leave, but you can't come home. and I had a couple opportunities along the way. I had a couple of opportunities along the way to leave Rice. And I remember my dad, it was a very distinct and very vivid school call and said, hey, if you want to come here, we want you. And I said, Dad, what do you think? And he said, if you leave, you'll leave and you'll run the rest of your life. And at that very moment, Rice became a great experience for me. When I made that decision that I was going to come back, all of a sudden life changed. It was no longer about getting beat up every day. It was really about being the best that I could be. And I'll be honest with you, I really feel like I was a little bit behind the eight ball. I was a late starter. Probably gave away that freshman year, probably gave away that sophomore year. But I really relished the opportunities that I had as a junior and as a senior. I tell people all the time, coming to Rice was the second best thing that I ever did. The best thing that I ever did was marry my bride, Vicky.
Yes, sir.
So, as a basketball coach, and especially as a young guy, when I became the head basketball coach at Rice University, I was 32 years old. I was the youngest head coach in the United States at the time. There were probably only 25 black basketball coaches in Division I, guys like John Thompson, John Chaney, Nolan Richardson, Tubby Smith. Those guys were significantly older than I was. I was not exactly welcomed in that club to hang around with those guys and to get to know those guys. And I wanted somebody to be a mentor for me. And the guys that I was friends with, a lot of guys that became head coaches, I'd been a head coach 7, 8, 10 years before those guys got opportunities to become head coaches. And so my experience at Rice of being a first or being in only or being early, I think it served me well because I did learn how to learn and I was able to seek out people and I was able to develop relationships and learn some things about what it took to succeed. And I really say all that to say I've had conversations over the last 5 years with a number of former players. I had one as recent as yesterday where one of the guys said to me that, Coach, until I came to your house, until I met you and your wife, I didn't know that a black man could be successful. I didn't know that a black man could have things unless you did it on the court or through drugs. And I can't tell you the number of guys that said that with so much sincerity. It really didn't dawn upon me the significance of just being there until you hear those types of comments. The thing that I'm most proud of in my career is that every player that's ever finished their eligibility plan for me has graduated. more significant for me than that. And so I guess the bridge that I'm trying to talk about here is really a reflection of what those guys have been able to accomplish. I learned more from my players, I think, than I ever taught them. And they taught me how to get up every day. They taught me how to fight for them. They taught me how to prepare. It gave me motivation and reason to be able to do a lot of those things. They taught me a lot of humility. Most importantly, and I think especially as a black man, they taught me how to love them and how to say I love you and how to be a good husband and be a good father. And it's something that's sometimes hard in our society. But every one of those guys, it's just been an honor and a pleasure to have coached them. They are the bridge. And to really kind of put that in perspective, when I came to Rice University, it wasn't vogue, it wasn't exciting. In fact, you really couldn't go around the city of Houston wearing a t-shirt that said Rice on it, especially when it came to basketball, because Rice had not had a lot of success in the sport of basketball for a long, long time. But it was guys like Brent Scott and Torrey Andrews and so many others, Yamar Dean, Jason McCreef, and some of these guys that are here tonight, that made it okay. They didn't just make it okay, they made it special. They made it acceptable. They made people into Rice fans. And that's really significant. That's part of that bridge. Because of those guys and so many others in football, and I can go down the list with Indy Kalu and Trevor Cobb and so many others. If there was not a Staley Vincent, there would not have been a Trevor Cobb. And because of those young men and women, there has been a bridge that's been built. I don't know this, but I feel very strongly about this. I think this is true, that their experience at Rice was not something that they would wish on their worst enemy. And that's the sign of progress. That's the sign that things are moving forward and going in the right direction. When you look at the relationships, I follow Facebook a little bit. I'm not a pro, but I do kind of. I'm really a Facebook voyeur. I go in there and kind of look and kind of check out and see what's going on, and to hear and see the pride that they have in their school, in Rice University. And I do have that pride, but they show that pride of being an owl and the gatherings that they have and the things that they talk about and celebrating the birth of their children and their weddings and so on and so forth. That's the bridge. And so my hope is, and I think this is really as much a challenge as it is a hope, that Rice University will put more people in place that look like the student athletes that are on the courts and on the fields and participating in all the various sports. It's so incredibly powerful to see examples of people who look like you that can do things above and beyond your wildest dreams. And so I really think it's a challenge when it comes to administration. I think there's nothing more significant and more important to have senior black administrators at the university because, as President Lieber pointed out, there are a lot of black students and a lot of black athletes at this school. To have black faculty and senior administrators within the upper levels of the university, those are the types of things that I would hope for and would love to see my school aspire toward. And I guess the best way to say it is there are people in this audience that we need to bring home.
Yes, sir.
Bring them back home, make them a part of this community so that it becomes a lot more effective and a lot easier for people to come back to a great institution. The one distinction that I have over probably most everybody in this room is that I spent almost my entire adult life at this school as a student athlete for 4 years, as an assistant basketball coach for 5 years, as a head basketball coach for 16 years, and certainly as an alumnus. So I feel like I've seen a lot, and maybe some of my comments are a little bit direct and pointed, but I think it's appropriate, and I think it's time. It's time to make Rice into the premier academic institution in the country, and at the same time have premier athletic programs. This school deserves that, and student athletes deserve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Unlike Willis, I do not have this memorized at all. I cannot go not off the script, so please bear with me. It'll be short, and I hope that my message is clear. So tonight has been really fun and really exciting. It's been great getting to know the Rice community, eating this delicious food, and honoring various Trailblazers during the course of this event. Thank you, Rice Athletics, ARUBA, and the R Association, and the various supporters for seeing the need for this reunion and seeking ways to support and provide for students now and beyond Rice. It is an honor to stand before you today to discuss carrying the torch and the importance of Black alumni here at Rice University. Originally, a good friend of mine, Crystal Porter, was supposed to discuss carrying the torch, but she was unable to come due to unforeseen circumstances. I thought about giving a formal speech and addressing certain issues and giving a few examples of how we can carry the torch. Then I thought about coming in today with nothing and just saying April Fools and just leaving this I really did. Instead, I just decided to tell you guys a little bit about myself and what I experienced here at Rice University, and how I truly believe that it's imperative that the Black alumni continue to carry the torch to sustain and cultivate a strong Black student presence on this campus. So I'm the product of two Nigerian immigrants determined to make it to the melting pot, the land of opportunity, America. And my parents did receive that opportunity. My father, he's been practicing law for over 30 years. My mother has been practicing pharmacy for about 25 years. And from childhood, my parents instilled in me the concept of service and hard work. They constantly reminded me that everything we have is a gift from God and from the determination to not fail. They implanted in me, by their examples, that service is important. And luckily for me, involvement in basketball provided an easy way to get involved and connect with the youth of our community. As a Rice student athlete, I tutored and mentored at-risk elementary school students, girls, and life skills by utilizing basketball, higher education, and other interactions. This opportunity gave me a chance to influence young girls in a positive way, stressing to them, as my parents did to me, the importance of education. I let them know that you can only go as far as you dream, and with a college degree, those dreams can come true, and they can become realities. When I was accepted at Rice University, I was not welcomed with positive support from my high school peers. When some of my friends in high school found out I would be attending Rice University, they automatically attributed my success and my acceptance to being a good basketball player. Basketball alone is what got me in. This feeling carried over into my college career and experience as well. I was determined to prove them wrong, so I tried to fight this battle on my own. I said, maybe if I just am disciplined enough, focused enough, work hard enough in practice, do all the little things on my own, I could make it. And I was completely wrong. That was not it at all. You need people. You need people to succeed. You need people to show you what hope looks like, what love looks like, what faith looks like. And I wish I had seen that through the Black alumni in my lives. And that's what I'm here to do today, to encourage you guys to come back. It's so nice seeing some of my teammates are here now. And when I would see them in the stands just cheering us on, I was like, wow, I can get through this. I can get through this and be successful. I can get through this and have hope and have faith in all of those things, and I can be where they're standing one day. Arthur Ashe Jr. once said, "From what we get, we can make a living, and what we give, however, makes a life." For example, what has been provided to us? Our parents that provided a lifestyle for us, for food to eat, a roof over our heads, clothes to cover our bodies. These things were received, but if we were able to give that to someone now, then we would be providing a life. I'm not saying this is an easy task. If we all look back to our time in undergraduate, we can agree that we didn't always reach out to our peers, our professors, our resources that were right there in front of us that we so desperately needed. Therefore, what I'm asking and encouraging you to do is going to require you to take a leap of faith and reach out to these students. Come to meet and greets, come to basketball games, come to whatever sporting events you want to come to. Come bringing your business cards. Exchange phone numbers right then and there. All of those things so that you build relationships and mentorships that last and sustain beyond Rice. Giving takes sacrifice, but the gain of a life is so much more. To much is given, much is required. As a Rice alumni, we have the opportunity to carry the torch. It is our responsibility, and I challenge you to carry the torch. Keep the light burning. Rice fight, never die. That was the only part
I don't think I know it either, and I've worked on it.
Blue, gray in the sky, and then the next part.
We didn't Google it.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I especially want to thank our honorees and so many other letter winners who are here tonight. This celebration is not enough. This time is not enough. But I promise you my commitment, so long as I'm president and so long as I'm around and involved, we're going to keep doing things like this. We're going to keep finding ways to honor you and recognize you for all that you've done for Rice. I am so not bothered by, but one of the things that I see when I deal with students today, which I do on a frequent basis, I look and I talk to them and I'm like, do you know what legacy you're walking into? Do you know that men's basketball, women's basketball, football, track, we're successful. We have NBA players, WNBA players, we have NFL players, we have people who have standing records, Olympians, Hall of Famers, not only at Rice but in the state. Do you know that you have a legacy of excellence? And a lot of them don't. And I think it's important for us, especially this year, to talk about our history, to talk about what you all have done as an alumni community, and let our current students know, our young alumni know that you are walking in greatness. And being a student here at Rice, being an athlete at Rice, being a student athlete, you are set up for greatness. And you can and will be great. And the people before you have done it, and you can do it too. And so I'm so thankful for you all to be here, and I just ask your forgiveness, our Trailblazers and our letter winners, because I know that I have not spent enough time here talking about all that you've done. But this is a start, and this is just the first of many things that we're going to continue to do to recognize you and to welcome you back to Rice with open arms.
You good?
I needed that. Thank you to everyone who's traveled in from out of town. Special thank you again to our 50th chairs, our 50th commission, Alumni and Development Office, our leadership that was here earlier today, my ARUBA board. Thank you again to Miranda for catering this. We use our own. I rarely have the opportunity to speak in front of a Rice crowd and actually say, there's my family. That doesn't happen a lot because we're all over the place and nobody lives in Texas. But, thank you to my family who are here with me. We're all here for this, but really for Final Four reunion. But to my parents, my brother, brother was my sister-in-law, my brother over there, my little nephew couldn't take it anymore and had to go. Thank you all for being here. You know, I don't want to call out anybody above the other, but I want to thank the men's basketball family. I come from a basketball family, played my whole life until I got to Rice, and then I became an intramural champion. You know, we live and breathe basketball in the Mance household, and my brother was here when I was here. And, you know, when I came in, I didn't understand the student-athlete, student divide. I was like, what are you talking about? Everybody plays sports. You know, in my high school, you know, everybody, I didn't understand the concept. And so, student-athletes at the time were some of my closest friends, mainly because my brother and men's basketball welcomed me as their own. I remember going on freshman, you know, movie night with the men's basketball team when I'm not on the team. They welcomed me with loving arms. So when I pulled up this phone and started calling folks a while ago, they're like, Akila? I don't know, I don't really come back to Rice like that. But I stalked and harassed them and, you know, put out a little, you know, I love you guys. And they're here. So again, I don't want to recognize anybody over others, but men's basketball who welcome me into your family, can you all stand for me, the ones who are here, men's basketball players? When we first started planning the 50th and discussing this last year, one of the first events that we all agreed on was this particular event, this reunion weekend. And as an organization, the ARUBA board knew and believed three important things about this. First, that letter winners were a significant part of our alumni community. Second, that as Black alumni letter winners, you all had a unique and compelling story to tell. And third, we believe that the 50th was the perfect opportunity to honor you and to welcome you back to this campus with open arms so that your story can be told. And I hope that this weekend has done this and it will continue to do that. The 50th celebration will continue throughout the year. We've had a wonderful time so far, a panel with our first students, some of our first students. We've had Soul Night that was a tribute